All right, everybody, welcome back to the #1 television program in the history of the entire universe. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown, all three books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Now, today I'm going to be reviewing The House at the End of the World by Dean Koontz. This is one of his more recent books. I've been reading and reviewing a lot of Dean Koontz books on the channel, but we kind of started towards the beginning of Dean Koontz's career because, back in the 90s and stuff, I was buying the Dean Koontz books as they were coming out every year, and one of my favorite writers, and gosh, around about the year 2001 or 2002, I stopped buying them. I've got all of his books. I got them all now. I've since bought them all, but my whole Dean Koontz collection there's some right there, and then there's a whole shelf of them down there. But I do have pretty much every Dean Koontz book that he's written, and we'll review them all eventually. But I've been reviewing a lot of the ones from the 80s and 90s first. But I thought, maybe I should review one of his newer ones, because I have not, from about 2002 to now, I haven't really read any of those. I haven't read any of the past 20 years of his books. Read the previous 20 years I had, but not in his 40 some odd year career, I've read the first half. You get what I'm saying. This is probably his newest book that's out. So I thought I'd give it a go. And by God, was it good. It was smashingly good. I really enjoyed this. Let's get into it a little bit. The cover first. I love graphic design and cover illustration. This has got a catchy cover. Now, here's the thing. This is published by Amazon's own publishing company, and I think it's called Thomas and Mercer. And one of the things is Amazon, they don't sell, I think they might sell some of these in Barnes & Nobles, but it's their own publishing company, so it's mostly Amazon. But I gotta tell you, whoever typeset this book, it's all wonky. It's not a professional job at all. The cover is dope. And the covers from Thomas and Mercer books are pretty good. But I've noticed as I've read some of these Thomas and Mercer, the typeset is way off. And what I mean is, if you get into your Microsoft Word, and you've got a and then you've got you can format your pages in different ways. And one of the ways you can format them is to just have all the type go to the bottom and then it goes to the next page. Or you can turn on the orphan control, if you know what that is, which means that you're not going to be leaving little orphan sentences at you have a big page here and then like one word on the other page because it's like an orphaned word, or maybe one line on the other page so the computer tries to offset that by shrinking this page down a little bit so you've got 2 or 3 lines over here so it doesn't look awkward. That's the way this is set up. I can tell they used orphan control on this, which does not work at all for a published novel, and just because it just looks weird. It just makes some of the pages look shrunk down. It makes some of the pages look full. Yeah, you don't have any dangling orphans, but God, I might have confused the shit out of a lot of you. Let's just talk about the book itself. Katie. Now, Katie, yeah, that's the main character. I'm just going to shout her name out and then not talk about her at all. Katie! Yeah, Dean Koontz, as we know, writes sort of these supernatural thrillers. I wouldn't call them horror novels, but more supernatural thrillers. That's what this one is. But Katie lives alone in a fortress-like stone house on a remote island called Jacob's Ladder Island. Now, right from the beginning, we get a great description of this island. It's a stone house. It's dope. Dean Koontz goes ahead and describes every detail of the inside and the outside of this house and how the island is set up and how it's out there. We talk about Katie and her stash of guns because she lives there alone. We tell her how she gets her food supplies brought to and from the island, how she wants to keep herself away from human contact, and so it's kind of like the Uber guy drives in a boat out to the island with her food, her weekly ration of food that the guy just dumps on the dock, and she watches as he drives floats, sails, motorboats away, and then she goes down to the dock and gets her food and whatever else she's ordered from the Uber Eats guy or the Kmart or whatever delivery service she's using. She's not going to talk to the people doing the delivering. She just drop it off, I'll get it. And we get, because she's cut herself off from society 100%. But why? Why would she do this? Well, I'm not going to give that mystery away because that's part of the whole supernatural mystery. She's an artist. Katie was a very, very successful, well-to-do artist back before she exiled herself to this island. And in fact, she sold paintings for a lot of money, made a lot of money off of it. And her artwork praised Jesus and God and all the Lord's Almighty. Her artwork was not this pretentious, and I was thinking it was going to be this pretentious, abstract art bullshit. But no, Dean Koontz describes her artwork as being very, very hyper-realistic and photorealistic, in that she paints everything representational. She does not do abstract art. And I was like, thank God, finally, some author in a book writes about an artist that does real art and not this abstract Jackson Pollock and Picasso shit that isn't real art. That's just lazy art. I am an artist myself. You can go to my website, see my art. I paint in a very realistic, photorealistic, hyper-realistic style. And I always took shit from it, from the real artists. Well, I was a commercial artist. I was a commercial illustrator. But anyway, I just liked the fact that Dean Koontz made this Katie an artist that I could appreciate. Let's move on from that subject, because I can talk for days about good art versus bad art. I just can. But you don't want that for this video. Anyway, she's on this island, doing paintings now for herself. She still does them photorealistically. She still is doing her thing, but she keeps them for herself. She doesn't sell them. Why, you ask? Well, that would be giving away the mystery. Why is she doing this? One of the things is there's a couple islands that she can see from her own island. And she knows there's an abandoned house on one of the islands, but the other island seems to have a lot of activity. It seems to be because she spies through her binoculars. She spies this island. And she notices there's like a lot of activity, military type activity, like drones and helicopters. It's like they're doing military maneuvers out there. Sometimes there's explosion. Sometimes she stays up late at night just to watch the explosions on that island as if they're fireworks. Also, she kills her time by reading the journals of the previous owners of the house. I mean, because the house was a very old house. It's a stone house. And she reads the journals of the previous owners of that house. But why? Why all of this? One day, well, the drones keep flying over. The drones keep flying over. I mean, she points her rifles at them. She wants to shoot them down. She doesn't like it. She knows someone's spying on her. Even in the remotest island she could find to live on, someone's spying on her, and it's freaking her out. Anyway, eventually these two guys from that island come with a search warrant to search part of her island for, well, they won't say what for. They just say, stay out of our way, let us do our thing. And, well, why? Well, that's, who knows? Then there's a lot of storms. The animals on the island start to act freaky. The foxes and the rabbits and stuff, they're acting weird. And then a little girl shows up named Libby. And there's some storms. And that's when things get really weird. And that's kind of where I'll stop with the plot. And I'll just say, it was a very, very engaging supernatural thriller. As Koontz, his name isn't Koontz, it's Koontz. As Koontz often does, very great supernatural thrillers. Like I said, his recent stuff, as far as I can tell, after one book, is just as good as his old stuff. Like I said, this is, I haven't read anything of his written from about 2002 till now. And this holds up just as well as the stuff that I loved in the 80s and 90s. So I'm going to give this a solid 9.5 out of 10. Just a very, very cool addition to the Dean Koontz library, and we will be reviewing all of his books eventually on the channel, so you can most definitely look forward to that. And I will end this with something I've never said on any video ever before. And if you hear me say this, comment below, because that means you've watched the whole video. But if you hear me say this, let me know what I did just say. But it's something that I've never said on any video I've ever shot, and that is, please like and subscribe.